Hello, my name is Ailsa Bosworth. I'm the National Patient Champion and founder of the National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society, also known as NRAS. I've lived with RA for over 40 years, and this is our new YouTube video series, Ask Me Anything. We're going to be answering questions from our community sent in via social media, and the NRAS team have volunteered me to kick off this new video series, and we're also going to be inviting other special guests to host in future. So here we go with the first question from the Rheumatoid Arthritis subreddit forum from Speechy Kid. How do you define a flare-up? Well, a flare can be a worsening of a single joint, multiple joints, or your whole body. I've certainly experienced all types of flares, and hopefully most of the time you can manage the flare yourself by increasing your pain medication and using other things, non-pharmacological things like hot and cold, heat packs, cold packs. We actually have a Smile module called Managing Pain and Flares, and that gives you loads of hints and tips about the things that you can do to help. But if you do need help, if the symptoms get a lot worse, get hold of your team, call your nurse-led helpline and ask for help. This is from Ruth, who's one of our Patient Views representative volunteers, and she's asked, what's the most useful mindset or coping strategy that you've developed since diagnosis? Well, good question, and that's a very, very long time because I've been diagnosed for some 46 years now. I've certainly had my share of uncontrollable disease, lots of surgery, and it's had quite a profound impact on my life. So I try to always see the positive whenever you get the sort of down and the negative times. You know, I've been lucky. I've always worked. The only time I've ever had off work was for surgery or when I had my daughter for a few months. And I couldn't have done that without the support of the employers I've had over the years and the friends and family that I have. Always have something in the diary to look forward to is my motto. You know, it's nice to have something that you know is coming up next month or in a few weeks that you can look forward to. And life is for living. So seize the day. If you want to do something, do it. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Is a question from Sally on LinkedIn. And she asks, how do you keep track of symptoms, meds and flares so that you don't feel overwhelmed? Really good question. We're actually testing something called the NRAS Health Wallet at the moment in collaboration with our health tech partner. And we've got a good number of volunteers who are testing it and co-producing it with us at the moment. It sits on your smartphone and it enables you to enter all of your symptoms, your medications, reminders, what's happened to you, monitor things like your pain, your fatigue, and all of that. There's lots of information in it. And that's actually, I'm finding very useful because it enables us to color code how we are. And you can look back over the months and weeks and you can see the colors and you can see the patterns. So I can now look back over the last year and see very clearly when I had my flares, how long the flares lasted for, how bad they were, and so on. And I can then go into the other data that back that up in terms of pain scores and fatigue scores and that sort of thing. But if you haven't got something like that, then writing it down, just jotting it down in a diary or on a calendar, whatever. But I think if you don't keep a track of what's happening to you, you aren't going to be able to remember when you come to seeing your consultant. If you're not seeing your consultant for 18 months, there's no way you're going to be able to recall everything that's gone on during that period of time unless you've written it down or you've noted it down in an app. So find a way that suits you. If you want to know more about the NRAS wallet, you can find out on our website. But do something to track and record what's happening to you is my advice. Okay, so on to the next question. This is from Burn to Tears. And they ask, any advice on what to ask or tell the doctor on my first visit? Well, if you're going to see a GP for the first time because you've got symptoms of rheumatoid or you've got painful joints or swelling and that sort of thing. A good place to start actually is isitra.co.uk. In RA Awareness Week, we've just actually launched our symptom checker. And so if you go onto our isitra.co.uk website, you'll be able to fill in a symptom checker, and that will give you some help and advice on what to do next. But you've got to remember that GPs are generalists, not specialists, and RA in its very early stages can mimic lots of other things. So make sure that you go through all of your symptoms and also any family history that you might have of autoimmune disease in your family. So it's really important to get an early diagnosis if you possibly can. Somebody called BizRVT. What was my disease progression like? What have I done to manage it? And how has it affected my career? And what careers have you found that work for you in your mental and physical health? My progression was quite rapid, but I have to say that I was diagnosed a very long time ago when we didn't have the drugs available that we have today, and we didn't treat the disease in the way that we treat it today. I had 20 years of being on steroids because that was really the only thing that actually controlled my disease. So I've had lots of surgery. At the time I was diagnosed, I was working in the machine tool industry for the CEO of a machine tool importer. And so it was office-based. And he was actually a great boss. And I had a lot of time off work initially because I was so ill, getting diagnosed and getting started on some kind of treatment. And he was incredibly supportive and really became a mentor. You know, we have actually got some really useful work booklets, one for employees and one for an employer. So if you don't really know quite how to explain to your employer what's going on with your disease, give them the employer booklet to have a look at, because that can be really helpful getting people to understand a bit more about the kind of support you need. And if we can help in any way, then get in touch. That's what we're here for. From Shebelb, if you could go back to when you first realised you had or were diagnosed with arthritis, what would you wish you would have done or known? What would I have wanted to know? Lots of things. Education, information, supported self-management. I didn't even know that was a thing back then. Just so much. It can be completely overwhelming when you're first diagnosed because it doesn't matter what age you are, and you can be any age from 16. It's the thought that there isn't a cure for this thing that I've just been diagnosed with. I can't just take a pill for a few months and that'll be it, or have an operation and that's it, sorted. You've got to live with it for the rest of your life. And so it's a huge thing to contemplate at that stage. And so the more you can know about your disease, the more you can understand about it, the more you can understand about the medications and the different options that the medications give you, the more you're going to be able to feel confident about taking those decisions when they come along about, do I do this or do I do that? And also, supported self-management is absolutely fundamental to dealing with a long-term condition like rheumatoid arthritis. You have to learn that stuff. It just doesn't happen. And that's why we developed SMILE, our e-learning program, which has got lots of different modules and teaches you about all the different aspects of living with and coping with RA. So when you're newly diagnosed, or when you're managing pain and flares or managing meds, that's what it's there for, to help and support you. You don't know what you don't know. The more you know about your disease and the more educated you are about how to manage it with the right help at the right time, the better off you will be. From Extreme Homework 759, my dad is diagnosed with RA. Considering his diagnosis, does that predispose me to only RA, or is it multiple autoimmune diseases? You don't directly inherit the disease, but what you do potentially inherit is genes that don't function completely. And what you then need is an environmental trigger to come along and match up with that, and that will then trigger the immune system into behaving badly. If you've got autoimmune disease in your family, then you are more predisposed to get any other type of autoimmune disease, not specifically just RA. the environmental trigger can be one of any number of things. So it could be diet related, it could be stress, virus, infection. Smoking is another one, actually. I should definitely mention that, because you're 25% more likely to get RA if you smoke. Sadly, it's not just one disease, but you could be predisposed to any autoimmune condition. So I hope that's answered your question. So we've got a short question here from Greg on Facebook. Any tips or hacks or supplements you guys recommend? Well, launching in January, we're going to be introducing 3 new modules in our SMILE e-learning program on managing the risks of cardiovascular disease. And one of those modules will be on diet and nutrition. And within that, we've got some really useful information about the fats, omega-3 and omega-6. These are polyunsaturated fats that come from oils and nuts and extra virgin olive oil and things like that. And they're really good for you. But we tend to find that in our diets, we get more of omega-6 and not enough of omega-3. So there's quite good research to show that supplementing with omega-3 fish oil can be helpful. And so you can certainly delve into more information about that. Another important one for people with RA, I would say, is also vitamin D, is you get from sunlight, basically, and then your body makes it. And if you're not outside very much, and in the wintertime when it's cold and wet and so on, you are outside less, then vitamin D is a good idea to supplement. But again, talk to a nutritionist, talk to your GP, talk to your rheumatologist about it, and find out what the right dose for you might be. Our next question is from Emma LW, and she asks, can I still have children? The answer is yes, absolutely you can, Emma. It's really important, though, if you are thinking about starting a family, that you work with your rheumatology team, both pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy and postpartum, so that you get the best advice and they can help get you into the best state to be pregnant. Actually, there's a big trial going on at the moment called the Mama trial, and they are looking at whether it's better to stop or continue a biologic whilst pregnant. So there's lots of research going on in this area at the moment, but certainly it's entirely possible to get pregnant, and lots of people with RA have children with no problem at all. So we have a question now from head_jellyfish5570. This is a young lady who has been diagnosed just recently and feels like her world has turned completely upside down and is completely overwhelmed by it all, but wants to be as informed and prepared as possible to discuss her treatment plan with her consultant. Being, as I said earlier, being as informed as possible about all the options, and you are going to have options and choices to make. So knowing as much as you can within a limited sphere at the moment, because there's a limit to how much you can take on. But rest assured that once you get started on medication, and there is a bit of trial and error with medication, not all of the medication works for all of the people all of the time. So you may try the gold standard, which is methotrexate, and you may find that that does or doesn't work for you. Take it one step at a time. Reach out to us. Our helpline is open Monday to Friday from 9:30 to 4:30. Take a deep breath. You will get started on treatment. You will get your disease under control, better control than it is right now, and you will start to get your life back. It's just a question of taking each day as it comes at the moment, and keep your eye on that glass and make sure it's half full and not half empty. And that's all the questions for this video. If you've enjoyed this, then please like and subscribe to the NRAS YouTube channel to stay up to date with future uploads. If you want to find out anything more about what we've talked about, links will be down in the description. Follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, X and LinkedIn. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself and goodbye for now.